Hello, everyone, and good evening. Thank you so much for joining us today, fellow esteemed guests, candidates, moderators, and thank you all for joining us today for this pivotal event in our university's democratic process. This debate stands as a cornerstone for our university's commitment to transparent, informed governance. It provides a platform for our esteemed candidates to present their visions and engage with student concerns. It's my honor to introduce myself as your moderator for this evening, Alexandra Arias, and my co-moderator and one of my lovely fellows, Jaden Nguyen, and timekeeper in the back here, Ashiki Peggy and Kevin Arizmendi. These individuals have been committed to fairness and to facilitating a constructive dialogue among our candidates. Present here today in the check-in and on the sidelines is my lovely committee. None of this would be possible without them. So on your way out, we'd like to give them a big round of applause. Thank you so much again to all of our attendees. The last time that we had an ASUCR debate for any role has been quite a while. Pre-COVID, years before that, so we are very excited to bring back the tradition to be able to present all of our lovely candidates who have worked hard on their platform, on campaigning, and sharing all of their ideas, concerns, and future endeavors with you all. To all our attendees, both physically present and watching on the recording, a heartfelt welcome. Your participation demonstrates your dedication to our university's governance and student leadership. As outlined in our debate rules, we value respectful and engaged discourse. Your role today is crucial in fostering an environment where ideas can flourish and where every voice is heard with respect. If you would like to submit a question, the link is in our Instagram, ASUCR_elections, so make sure that you are submitting those lovely questions for us to ask all of our candidates here today. Now let us embrace this opportunity to engage deeply with the visions and strategies put forth by our candidates. Your questions and engagement today will shape the future leadership of our university. Thank you once again to our candidates, moderators, and audience members for being part of this essential event. Best wishes to our candidates and best of luck on all of your campaigning. Now let's begin our ASUCR presidential debate. At this time, we're going to go ahead and get started with the Vice President of External Affairs role. So I would like to invite the Vice President of External Affairs candidate to the podium.
Please use the next minute to explain what your campaign is.
So for my campaign goals for this year, it's actually a lot. External does a lot of great work, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly one main goal that we want to focus on, just because we encompass a multitude of goals. But for one, generally just making UCR more affordable and accessible, and just advocating for students and the needs in government and organizing spaces. In the past year, we've been really championing for Cal Grant reform and equity. So definitely going ahead and addressing those needs, especially because they've been cutting on the limit to how many students could access Cal Grant. So what we want to do for next year is definitely being able to expand that margin and being able to have those that don't receive Cal Grant to have accessibility to that. Secondly, establishing more comprehensive voter and civic engagement towards incoming students by establishing educational programs and focus on civic literacy and grants and scholarships for participation students.
Thank you so much. For your next question, how do you advocate for the interests and concerns of UCR Riverside students at the local, state, and national levels?
So one of the ways that we would represent students' interests and concerns at a here UC Riverside on a state, federal, and local level is by allowing students to have free lobbying trips to Sacramento and even to Washington. Currently, we have students, undocumented students, and even folks from external attending Washington to present some assembly bills and Senate bills that pertain to topics like housing, student debt, the increase of tuition hikes that are going to be happening the upcoming year. Additionally, even having students, regular students, just to apply and be a part of the UCSA space, which if you do not know is the UC Student Association. And for them to be able to singly address their respective representative and senators from our district on singly addressing the best interests for students, as I mentioned. Recently, I attended a Sacramento trip on behalf of UMD, as well as the Student Home Coalition, to be focusing on student affordable housing that will benefit all UCR students.
Our next question is, what's submitted by the student body? What does advocacy mean to you?
Advocacy, it's such a broad thing. For me, it means being driven by your passion, being there to help unrepresented students. As a person from an underrepresented background, I feel like a lot of the times we're overlooked, our issues are overlooked, our concerns, our interests, the just issues and concerns, as much as we vocalize them in the space, sometimes I feel like they don't take them into consideration. I think also accountability being one of them as well for advocacy, holding our representatives and people in administration accountable for their actions and the harm that they inflict on students. For instance, bringing up the whole tuition hikes. Restricting accessibility to education is a systemic barrier that a lot of students face. And also, joining the Cal Grant. So how many of you are benefiting from Cal Grant? Or how many of you benefit from these resources? A lot of you guys. Without advocacy, without the hard work that our office and even the student body here, that wouldn't be possible. So that's what advocacy means to me.
Thank you. Please use the next minute to conclude what you want the undergraduate population to know about you and your campaign.
I want students to firstly be aware that I'm a very hardworking, passionate, and driven person that will make sure that these needs and concerns of students, and even within the local community, because not only do I represent students, but I represent Riverside. I represent the IE, the community that is constantly overlooked, that are constantly marginalizing students, marginalizing the community of resources and education. So one thing is I'm passionate, I'm driven, I want to make sure that I get these concerns addressed, and I want to also use my advocacy as a way to educate students and the community. And by having these resources like going to lobbying trips, being able to just collaborate with other orgs on campus, these are ways that I will inform students of my main goals and the issues that I just addressed currently.
Thank you. May we have our next position come up? Vice President of Marketing and Promotions, Kennedy, please.
And before we continue, as always, you can find all of the information for all of our lovely candidates on the ASUCR website and our Instagram. On our Instagram, you'll be able to find all of the candidates for all of the different positions, and you will also be able, if they are tagged, you will also be able to go on their social media and learn a little more about their platform. But next up, we are going to move on to the Vice President of Marketing and Promotions role. So for your first question, please use the next minute to introduce yourself and explain what your campaign's main goal is.
Hi everybody, I hope everybody is having a great night tonight. My name is Ashley Estrella. I'm currently a third year political science and public policy major, and I'm running to be your next Vice President of Marketing and Promotions. And during my time here, I served on two committees, the Civic Engagement Committee as the Executive Assistant, and on the Elections Committee as a ballot technician. And within the Civic Engagement Committee, I have dedicated my work to providing opportunities for students to engage in activities surrounding both political and non-political matters to increase student knowledge and awareness and maintain active engagement. And these components are outlined within the responsibilities of the Marketing and Promotions Department. And as a previous elections committee member, I understand the importance of upholding and safeguarding values of fairness and equality in order to preserve the integrity of our student government. These components must be at the forefront of our marketing department to establish trust and active communication while also maintaining accountability and accessibility.
Thank you. May we have the next candidate please come up? Please use the next minute to introduce yourself and explain what your campaign's main goal is.
Hello, I'm Ian Tijan. I'm a first-year mechanical engineer major running for ASUCR Marketing and Promotions. The reason why I'm running for this position is because I believe that the position has a lot of great potential of becoming something greater than it is right now. I believe the position not just as something that it markets ASUCR material, but actually being a communicator of these institutions on campus. What do I mean by this? I mean that marketing may sound like it's inherently just for ASUCR, but the marketing should also be done for all orgs and departments on campus. And I want to do this by just trying to communicate and trying to reach out to these different organizations that benefit us, like Basic Needs, Red Cross, that do all this great stuff, and just attempt to basically create a better community where students on campus know their opportunities, where they know that they can find different opportunities that can benefit them at the end.
Thank you. May we have the next candidate, please? Please use the next minute to introduce yourself and explain your campaign's main goal.
Hello everyone, my name is Justin Tam and I'm a second year pre-business major. This year I have been the marketing specialist for the judicial branch. As Vice President of Marketing, my goal is simple: to ensure that all UCR students know about the resources available through ACCR. Each year, many students organizations miss out on ACCR funding simply because they are not familiar with the requisition process. Additionally, a lot of students, when asked about ACCR, can't provide a clear answer and it sometimes confuses with the ASBB. It's essential that we clarify our mission and increase our visibility so that every student understands how ACCR contributes to their campus life. Do you know that students pay almost $10 per quarter to ACCR as part of their tuition? That's why I'm committed to improving transparency between ACCR and the student body. We have various offices within ACCR, and I want to make sure each one has the chance to share their opportunities within our diverse student body, including transfer and international students.
Your next question is, despite how critical the impact of ASUCR to the student body, it goes highly unrecognized. How do you plan to engage with and capture the intention of a diverse student body?
So my experience in the Civic Engagement Committee has taught me to utilize both in-person and online marketing strategies to form an accessible bridge of communication between the students and the campus organization. And important components of marketing come down to three things: easy access to information and resources, community outreach and recruitment, and a dedication to an innovative mindset. Marketing must adapt to the wants and needs of its community. And upon interaction with students during our candidates convention, they voiced a need to, 1, to better improve the efficiency of tabling, 2, more online resources to include our commuter demographics, which make up 70% of our student body in campus affairs, and to increase in-person outreach strategies to cater to students who are active on social platforms.
Thank you. May we get the next candidate up, please?
Despite how critical the impact of ASUCR is to the student body, it goes highly unrecognized. How do you plan to engage with and capture the attention of a diverse student body?
The reason why I believe that ASUCR goes unrecognized a lot of times is due to the fact that a lot of times students don't really know what we do. I know a lot of people say this, but I think it's it's true, because a lot of times there's not a lot of outlets on where ASUCR, where people can see what ASUCR does, either on the website or anything else. This is why I even started a live streaming service called RSpan that actually goes up tomorrow. You can see on the Instagram page for more. But this service I created this service because I saw a lot of people couldn't attend these meetings, that they couldn't go to these different events that the ASUCR was hosting, and therefore I want to make these services as accessible as possible so people can actually understand they can attend these events knowing that like they can miss one and not actually be screwed up for the rest of the year. I also want to generally just create a lot more surveys and everything just to make sure the student body feels included. It's important that the student body is able to interact with us. Otherwise they believe they go unrecognized. And this is why I believe that we should increase the opportunities on campus.
Despite how critical the impact of ASUCR is to the student body, it goes highly unrecognized. How do you plan to engage with and capture the attention of a diverse student body?
I believe a common mistake last VP of marketing officials have been made is relying solely on our online platforms to promote ASUCR. To address this, I will collaborate with campus facilities to secure physical spaces for bulletin boards and posters, ensuring students stay informed about our events year-round. But it's not just about physical presence. We need more meaningful in-person outreach beyond tabling. Why limit ourselves when there are numerous untapped avenues to connect with our student body? I'll partner with ASUCR offices to host engaging workshops, inviting students to discover the impact of each role within our organization. This recognition is crucial in fostering a more active and informed campus community, inspiring more students to engage and run for more positions during elections. Furthermore, my committee and I will introduce new incentives and amplify ACCR's outreach. We'll also support students during challenging academics period by organizing de-stressing events, distributing essential school supplies. As VP of Marketing, I'll always have myself or a member of my committee being proactive and productive by commuting with students and updating them on the latest information about ACCR.
Describe past experiences or initiatives you want to highlight that have prepared you for this position.
Could you repeat the question?
Describe past experiences or initiatives you want to highlight that have prepared you for this position.
The initiatives and highlights that I want to bring to light are the events that we have to inform students of their social and political rights here on campus. And I do so by collaborating with other on-campus organizations such as Ignite, which is the national organization to inform students of their rights on the social and political spheres. And could you repeat it one more time, sorry?
Describe past experiences or initiatives you want to highlight that have prepared you for this position.
And I really feel prepared for that because I take the initiative upon myself to actually go in person and market to classes during like class wraps or announcements, just to inform students of current activities or future activities that will take place. And such as tomorrow, we have the bracelet making, and we're trying with GCAP, and we're trying to relate it back to how students can participate in civic engagement and just overall engage with other students on campus.
Describe past experiences or initiatives you want to highlight that have prepared you for this position.
So for me, when it comes to this position, I have kind of a weird connection to it. So in high school, I was the head editor of our TV program. And to me, a lot of times that was about kind of transparency and honesty towards the actual student body of that. And when I got here, I tried to start a live streaming service. It's called RSpan, as I mentioned before. And I started this once again to improve the honesty and transparency of this as an initiative to be not just a temporary mark on ASUCR, but a permanent mark to increase association with the student body. I also basically I'm a person who jumps into the fray at the very beginning. I try everything and see what's actually accomplishable by the end of it. So that's why I even had a 20-week plan of opening up a store, which is open right now in Lothian. This is why I'm doing a garden projects and AI. This is why I've been trying to network as much as possible. So I've been taking on a lot of these initiatives that are very time-consuming and a lot of time to try and be prepared for this position.
Thank you. Please describe past experiences or initiatives you want to highlight that prepared you for this position.
Over the past year, I've been the marketing specialist for Judicial Branch, and I've been able to intern under the current VP of Marketing, TJ. I've been helping with creating social media posts for Judicial as a marketing, through the marketing committee. I've made a calendar for bi-weekly posts. In terms of tabling, I volunteered to assist with tabling throughout the means of setting up, closing down, and taking the time to connect the students and passing out tote bags.
Thank you. Please use the next minute to conclude what you want the undergraduate population to know about you and your campus.
Collaborate, create, and empower. If we want to see a new, innovative shift, it is important that we deconstruct the misconception that one must be a part of the marketing or business field in order to apply their creative interests and pursuits here on campus. And we start this new innovative shift by increasing collaboration across our colleges and majors to ensure representation of our many diverse backgrounds and to provide our students the space and opportunity in ASUCR to create expressive arts that will further unify our community, and a community with a better established trust, communication, accountability, and accessibility, all done to empower our values and student life. And I'm asking for your support by voting for me to be your next Vice President of Marketing and Promotions so we can amplify our creative student voice. Thank you all for your time.
Please use the next minute to conclude what you want the undergraduate population to know about you and your campaign.
The VP of Marketing position is a position that has kind of a unique responsibility to the student body, as it's not there to manage the student affairs, it's there to present it. This is why I want to open the doors for different clubs, departments, and organizations on campus. I generally want to create a cohesive list of clubs and orgs so you guys don't have to scroll through 1,000 Instagram pages trying to find meeting times. I see this position as the voice of ASUCR. It's the voice that can do a lot of good for it, and this is why I'm running for this position. I want to give you guys as many opportunities as the student body because I believe you guys deserve it. UCR has hundreds, if not thousands, of organizations at this point that can use representation, that can use empowerment, that we can help advertise and show the student body who they actually are. So as I end this conclusion, I want to say I'm running for you guys, and I'm going for this position because I want to help you guys.
Thank you. Please use the next minute to conclude what you want the undergraduate population to know about you and your campaign.
Ultimately, my goal is to increase awareness of the ASUCR organization as well as the efficiency, coordinated operations from within. It was great speaking to all of you directly in ASUCR's first presidential debate. Thank you for all being here and giving me your time this evening.
We are now going to move on to our next position for Vice President of Finance. So I now invite the candidates for Vice President of Finance to approach the podium.
Good evening, Highlanders. Imagine a campus that utilizes your funds to invest in your future. My name is Cooper Kumar, and I'm running to be your next Vice President of Finance to ensure that every dollar works for you. As a second-year accounting major, I'm currently the Director of Campus Partnerships, where I work directly with Costo Hall and also help plan our statewide conferences. I'm also the VP of Finance of the Undergraduate Business Association. My main goal of my campaign is to financially empower our student body. I intend to bring a more student-oriented approach to our resource allocation efforts by increasing funding transparency, working directly with student organizations to provide tailored financial support, and by providing practical financial workshops that equip students directly with practical skills they can use for their current and future success.
Please use the next minute to introduce yourself and explain what your campaign's main goal is.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Caden Ho. I'm a second-year neuroscience major minoring in business, and I am running to be your next vice president of finance. I am currently a senator for CNAS, and I've worked directly in the finance committee. And from my time here at UCR, I've recognized one thing, and it is the impact that student organizations have on campus. Student orgs are where a lot of students find the community and is a big part of who we are as UCR. And my goal as Vice President of Finance is to make sure that all clubs are properly educated on the money that we allocate to clubs every year. I also want to streamline that process so that all clubs can get the financial support that they need to host their events and activities that they all have and increase our overall school pride. I'm committed to increasing the accessibility of money for all students, and by implementing all these initiatives and prioritizing campus clubs, I'm confident that we can create a vibrant campus where all student organizations can thrive.
Please use the next minute to introduce yourself and explain what your campaign's main goal is.
Is your club broke? Are you lacking the funds to host fun events? Hey Highlanders, I'm Philson Ho, and as your next VP of Finance, I'll be your advocate. As a current CHAS Senator, I'm active on the finance as well as other committees such as the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, as well as the Academic Affairs Committee. Within finance, I've assisted in allocating funds within to clubs. I've also co-authored legislation to boost funding for student parents, worked on expanding the Veterans Resource Center, and also introduced meal swipes at the barn. Now, you may be asking what I could do for you. The ASUCR Finance Committee's only functions are to allocate funds within ASUCR and to clubs. So I plan on improving its functions by increasing awareness for your club and fundraisers through collaborative efforts, utilizing media platforms for your financial goals, while also building trust between the finance committee and the rest of the student body.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
How will you ensure that over $1 million in student fees will properly benefit the student body?
My campaign ensures this by prioritizing two key areas. One, working directly with student organization leaders in their funding processes, and two, implementing practical financial literacy workshops. Firstly, by collaborating directly with student organizations, I'm able to gain insights into their unique fiscal needs. By understanding their needs, we can tailor our financial allocations more effectively, ensuring that funds are allocated where they're most needed and where they'll also have the most impact. Secondly, I plan to implement more practical financial workshops to ensure UCR students gain essential financial skills. I plan to implement a tax preparation workshop, a FAFSA workshop, and an investment-based workshop geared towards wealth building. Since such a large portion of our student body are first-gen college students, it is essential that our student government equips them actively with these core financial skills for both their current and long-term success. Thank you.
How will you ensure that over $1 million in student fees will properly benefit the student body?
All right. So $1 million is a lot of money, and currently being an active member on the finance committee this past year, I've gained a strong understanding of the way funding works and how money moves around within ASUCR. And from looking at the current funds that we have allocated towards organizations, We have over $100,000 allocated to these organizations. However, only about 10,000 or about 10% of this funding was actually utilized by them for their own events and activities. And in response to this, I plan to increase the transparency of the money allocated to these organizations, making sure that they all take advantage of the resource that they have. And I believe that with me as VP of Finance, I can ensure that all funds are properly utilized to support all student organizations across campus.
How will you ensure that over $1 million in student fees will properly benefit the student body?
As a Chaff Senator currently serving or being active on the Finance Committee, one thing I really noticed was the lack of transparency between the Finance Committee and the rest of ASUCR. In the Senate, a lot of people question the Finance Committee's decisions because a lot of us, or a lot of people in that committee would abstain from votes, and it would cause a lot of questions. I feel like all of this could have been resolved if we just make the committee meetings public, like the Senate meetings. It's so easy. Another way I would do it would be hosting optional quarterly fundraiser, or not fundraisers, student life seminars, in addition to the mandatory annual ones, to kind of give clubs a refresher on how they could get funds from us, while also having bite-sized media graphics to kind of support the clubs that need funding, while also like helping clubs, even if we can't fund them, by backing them on social media through posting their stories and fundraisers on our story.
And as a quick reminder, the timer will begin on your first word. For your next question, how will you ensure that ASUCR funding is more accessible for student clubs and orgs?
I will ensure that ASUCR funding is more accessible to orgs by, again, working directly with each student org to allow them to gain access and a better understanding of how to utilize their funds. Rather than taking a blanket approach of student government, I recognize that our diverse UCR community has a variety of different physical needs that varies frequently. Working more on the ground with each community and student org to understand their unique physical needs is probably the biggest thing I want to change to allow students to be empowered in their utilization of their money.
How will you ensure that ASUCR funding is more accessible for student clubs and orgs?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing within this is education and communication. Like I said, there are a lot of organizations on campus who don't really understand that the funding that they have available to them. I want to make sure that all orgs on campus understand that they have all this money, they have the ASUCR supporting them and backing them in every event and activity that they do. With this, I plan to increase communication, whether that means mass emails or making them more active on Instagram, and providing just stronger communication, making sure that all clubs and organizations understand that the money they have access to, as well as streamlining that process that they have as well, making it a lot easier, making it faster, making the process more understandable so that they can get their money easily and have a successful event that they plan to host.
How will you ensure that ASUCR funding is more accessible for student clubs and orgs?
Sorry, I had it in my head. It's like, let's see. My bad. It's like, okay, so to open funding or to make sure that clubs are able to see what we do with the funds, one thing I would do would be making sure that clubs could actually understand what we're doing. And one way we could do that would be hosting office hours at Student Life instead of just at the ASUCR building, because clubs go to the Student Life building to ask about what we could do to help them. And it could all be mitigated if I was just there at student life, answering the questions, and it would mitigate the entire process. Another way we could help would be assisting them and making sure that they could, and also revising the bylaws so that the funding is open to all clubs on campus instead of just a select few. There are some clubs that don't have funding, and I feel that clubs are the lifeblood of our school and our culture, and I feel that it should be, our funding should be open to all of them.
Please use the next minute to conclude what you want the undergraduate population to know about you and your campaign.
As students, we pay way too much tuition for our funds to not be utilized to their maximum potential. If I'm elected as your next Vice President of Finance, I will ensure that student orgs and the UCR community are directly empowered to use their money effectively and efficiently. I will achieve this by working directly with student leaders, revamping communication channels for financial related information, and implementing workshops that provide students with real practical skills. At one of the most diverse universities in the nation, we need an Office of Finance that provides an active, community-based approach when working with student orgs and understanding their unique financial needs. Together, we can transform UCR into a place where students are equipped for lifelong financial success. Vote Cooper Kumar for Vice President of Finance. Let's invest in our future.
All right, thank you guys all for being here today. Just to reiterate some of my main goals, again, I'm here to prioritize student organizations and student clubs. They are one of the most important parts of our campus and where we really find our community here on campus. So with that, I want to increase transparency on funding and increase personalized communication with organizations. Again, making sure that they have strong understanding of the funding that they have accessible to them, as well as streamline processes of funding processes to make it easier for clubs to get the money that they need to host their events. And I'm confident with my experience being on finance committee this past year, as well as being a senator this past year, that we can support orgs and hope that together we can build a vibrant campus community. And yeah, vote Caden Ho for VP Finance.
Being in ASUCR for 2 years has taught me that there's so many things that ASUCR lacks. One of them being finance, being transparent to the rest of the student body, and especially to student clubs. A lot of clubs don't even know how to get funding, and that kind of is detrimental to the finance committee itself, because that's kind of the main function of the finance committee. It's to allocate funds within ASUCR and allocate funds to these clubs. If we can't do that, there's no finance committee. It doesn't matter what we do. So some ways I hope to help do that would be partnering with organizations to make sure that they feel represented in our organization, because right now ASUCR looks like another student interest club instead of something that really represents our student body. And I feel that as your next VP of Finance, I'll be able to solve these issues, because these are directly VP of Finance issues. I don't need to outsource help to anyone outside of ASUCR. Thank you.
Thank you to our three wonderful Vice President of Finance candidates. We would now like to invite all presidential candidates to the podium. Please use the next minute to introduce yourself and explain what your campaign's main goal is.
What ASUCR could be is a question that lingers in my mind constantly. How can this organization use its resources to the fullest potential and support students and make real action on this campus? My name is Abby Choi. I am a first-gen third-year biology major, and as your next potential president, I aim to foster ASUCR into a place where students can see their voices are heard and see what action is being done on pressing issues. In this position, I bring 3 years of experience starting as a Senate intern to a senator, and now as my current role as President Pro Tempore. I have spearheaded numerous pieces of legislation, events, and administrative changes to surrounding food security, career opportunities, labor rights, and more. I'm excited to continue my work with communities that have brought me to where I am now. My main goal as ASUCR president is to build a multi-year foundation for where all ASUCR representatives can continue their projects. Everyone here that you listen to today have great ideas. And I plan on building strong campus department relationships and ensuring that there is long-term funding for these projects to move beyond their pilot stages and into the hands of students. Thank you very much.
Please use the next minute to introduce yourself and to explain what your campaign's main goal is.
Hello everybody, my name is Adam Ramirez. I am a Latino education and economics double major, and I'm running for president. And my main platform for my campaign is this idea of accountability. We as students pay a lot of money in tuition. We give our blood, sweat, and tears to this place we are trying to earn our degree from. We as students deserve to have our needs met, and as president, that is exactly what I am doing, I will do. That's what I have done as the head of staff in our current office of the president. We as students, we have a lot of diverse needs that must be met. And as president, we would be able to keep our faculty accountable, the deans, the provosts, the vice provosts. But it extends beyond that to be able to keep our ECAB, our executive cabinet, accountable, to make sure the students' needs are met on the professional level as well as the student representative level. We have a lot of different situations going on that's going to happen next year. And as president, I feel with my expertise in education, I'd be able to guide the student government into a place where we'd be able to make sure the quality of education does not decrease. Thank you.
Good evening, Highlanders. I'm Tisha Shriram, a second-year Business Administration Management major and a current Chatham School of Business senator, ready to get it done as your next president. Through my time in ASUCR, I've involved myself in several committees and projects. I've championed for student safety, Title IX reform, and diversity, equity, and inclusion across UCR. Outside of our campus, I've been a voice for UCR at our UC Regents meetings and have advocated for collegiate recovery programs, ethical spending of our UC funds, and more funding for our care offices across the system. As president, I'll foster open communication with administration to uplift our student concerns, enhance commuter-student experiences, and ensure comprehensive safety and well-being for all. I've begun to do some of this work already by bringing back our student-run campus safety escort service, lobbying key regions, and serving as the UCR voice and representative for our EOB board for UC SHIP. These are my commitments to you to create a vibrant and inclusive community at UCR. Vote Tisha Shriram for president. Let's get it done. Thank you.
The most pressing issue that students face right now is food insecurity. In a survey conducted by Basic Needs, 66% of students suffer from some sort of food insecurity. In my past 3 years' experience, I have been constantly trying to fight food insecurity by instigating Kyle Fresh workshops, fighting for the Argonne referendum, and anything alongside Basic Needs. As president, I would be putting in funding into programs such as the Food Recovery Program, where we take leftover foods in dining halls into pick-out boxes for students to carry home, and so they would have a free box to take home for food. Beyond that, too, I will continue fighting for the Argonne referendum starting next fall when it's reinitiated, into providing free groceries for all students weekly on a free basis. Thank you very much. I'm doing my best to make sure that these programs move beyond when I'm president. They will continue on with my multi-year foundation. Thank you very much.
what is the most pressing issue that your office will face, and how will you use the office of the president to address the main issues facing the University of California, Riverside undergraduate population?
Thank you. I believe that the biggest issue we are going to face as a college next year is the budget. Simple as that. California predicted about 23% more than what we actually received. And as a result, the government is currently in shambles. And this directly impacts us as a public institution funded by the government. We are expecting to have to make up a $30 million deficit in the school as a whole. And every initiative that all our wonderful candidates have brought up so far is built upon this budget. And this is what is at risk. This budget is at risk. As Office of the President, it is our job to advocate. As President, we must advocate. Thus, as President, I will make sure that the students' voices are heard. We cannot accept rising tuition. We cannot accept this crippling student debt we have. We have to be able to provide all the opportunities all the students want. And this is dependent upon the budget and the economic situation. Given this crisis, I believe that together, as a college and as the Office of the President, I, as President, would be able to ensure that we as students have our needs met. Thank you.
In your opinion, what is the most pressing issue that your office will face, and how will you use the office of the president to address the main issues facing the University of California, Riverside undergraduate population?
The biggest issue that I believe my office will face has to do with student engagement. I noticed that there are several students on our campus community that want to get involved but are facing barriers to that involvement. And I want to work on tackling that. I want to encourage more students to attend our Senate meetings and be involved with ASUCR and all the other wonderful organizations that we have to offer. I want to improve transparency within our student government by really showing them all of the hard advocacy that we're doing. I want to also work with the rest of my ECAB and hold them accountable and help empower them. As president, I'm here to empower every single UCR student to do what they want and to have the space and the opportunity to voice their concerns. Thank you.
Of 8 executive cabinet positions, why did you pick to pursue the position of president?
When I chose to run for president, I was planning on creating a multi-year foundation. That's just one thing that I've been, yapping about for the past minute. But if I was VP internal, if I was VP external sustainability, all these positions are limited by what they can do in their offices. As president, I plan to not be limited by those objectives, and I plan on creating a foundation to actually support all of them and all their projects. All of them have wonderful ideas, all of them have wonderful goals they need to make in the year, but they also need a strong foundation to build off of. And so that's who I plan on being. I plan on being a supporter, and I plan on being a spearheader for their initiatives.
Of 8 executive cabinet positions, why did you pick to pursue the position of president?
Thank you. For two main reasons. The first one just being my experience. I spent this past year being the right-hand man of our current president, but it also extends beyond that to what a president does in its core. A president serves as an advocate, as a voice for the students, and my number one ideology in my 2 years of ASUCR is we must listen to the students. We are here for the students as we should. So the reason I chose to run for president is because I can tie it back to my idea of accountability. As the person who oversees the executive cabinet and serves as the advocate to the faculty, this is the position that has the most resources and the most opportunities to ensure the staff is accountable to the students. Accountability is really, really big to me because as students, that's what we deserve. We want XYZ, we should get XYZ. And therefore, I'm counting on all your support to please vote Adam Ramirez for UCR president. Thank you.
Of 8 executive cabinet positions, why did you pick to pursue the position of president?
When I was deciding what position to run for, I ran through all 8 different positions, and I realized that the position of president comes with something very special, and that is a strong connection to admin, but also a strong connection to the student body. I've been a strong advocate for UCR since the start of my experience here, and I advocate for our campus both here and outside in spaces where UCR voices are often overlooked. We are known as the diverse campus on the UC level, but oftentimes they want to silence our voices, but we are very powerful. I've spoken to deans, to regents, and I've even personally invited our chancellor to come out and see the hard work that our student body does. I believe that I'm a great choice for president because I can advocate for UCR on our campus and beyond. Thank you.
This question is also coming from the student body. How will you use the office to ensure paid ASUCR officials are completing the necessary work they were elected or appointed for?
One of the ideas I had as president was to create a quarterly report for all committees. We have to monitor all of our committees to make sure that they're doing the correct work. We have over 40 plus different committees, and to be honest, I don't think all the students know or even aware of which committees are doing what. And so with that quarterly report, I plan on tracking progress and monitoring the projects that they're doing to ensure that they are being efficient, they are actually doing what they are planning on doing, and they are supporting our students. Beyond that too, what was the question? Sorry.
How will you use the office to ensure paid ASUCR officials are completing the necessary work they were elected or appointed for?
Beyond that too, I also want to oversee these projects like parking structures, bike lanes, security cameras in the parking lots. All these projects have to be continuously monitored through actually having like a timeline, making sure that these resources that are initiated by this person is passed on to the next successor, and that we are watching them and making sure that these people are held accountable for their actions. And so I will be doing that as president and also keeping myself accountable.
How will you use the office to ensure paid ASUCR officials are completing the necessary work they were elected or appointed for?
I'm going to tie this again to my idea of accountability. It's really, really big to me, as I keep bringing it back up. But I've already done a lot of work to ensuring this type of accountability, starting with the first-year fellowship program that I oversee. In this program, we have just passed new legislation that says if you find that your executive cabinet member or if your fellow isn't doing their job, there is repercussions. As representatives paid by students' tuition, there ought to be repercussions. We are here, we campaign to do our job, we ought to do it. And having these kinds of repercussions that the students can take against us is extremely important. After all, we are here at the will of the students. The students are the ones that vote us in, they're the ones that we are here to serve, and they're the ones that we will listen to. And this idea of accountability extends all the way down to there. And the main impact of this, the reason why, or the way we ensure this type of accountability is just by having it come from the top down. So that's why I have ran for president, so that I can help bring this accountability all the way from the top down to the first year's fellowship program. Thank you.
How will you use the office to ensure paid ASUCR officials are completing the necessary work they were elected or appointed for?
Accountability is a huge issue within our student government. It's something very important and something that I believe every single elected official within our student government should hold themselves to. As president, I'm committed to holding myself accountable as well as all of the other members within my office, all of the other leaders and all of the other advocates. I currently work in several different offices, so I have a lot of experience in different committees, and I understand what every single position and every single committee has to do. And so because of that experience, I will be able to work really well with the rest of the ECAB members and other members within ASUCR, as well as students outside of that, to get their initiatives, to create tangible steps, and bring them to the next level. I started off by planting seeds to open lines of communication, and now during my time as president, if elected, I will take those seeds and I will grow them into bigger projects and bigger initiatives. Thank you.
next minute to explain what your campaign's main goal is.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brandon Huang. I apologize for being late as I was in class. So the main focus of my campaign is that I want to make sure that all students feel safe on campus. A lot of the initiatives that I've taken on campus has involved a lot of addressing student homelessness, food insecurities, as well as LGBTQIA plus bias trainings. That's something that I'm very here to support our students for. Another thing that I want to talk about during what I stand for is that I want to ensure that all student fees go back to students. Currently, as the Vice President of Finance, I've ensured that we have allocated roughly $500,000 back to students as all your fees go within ASUCR. I currently manage a $1.5 million budget, and on top of that, most of these fees provided by the ASUCR committee has been delegated back to the students, involving all events hosted by us. And on top of that, a lot of the things that include housing and food insecurities, I've in constant communication with administration.
Please use the next minute to complete the undergraduate population to know about you and your family.
I'd like to first thank you and my fellow candidates for taking time here to come here today. Regardless of who ends up in this role, keep us accountable and listen to what we have to say today and what we do the next year. If I'm president, I represent UCR, and I plan on using that position to support all at ASUCR to keep advocating for all our projects, policies, and more. I'm determined to make change and strengthen ASUCR to be a place where we have tangible results for our projects that our students have asked for a long time. Next year is the year where we can set a solid stage for change and a generational platform of progress and action. If you have any questions, feel free to talk to me after this debate or message me. I'd be happy to talk to you or anyone else here. Thank you very much.
Please use the next minute to conclude what the undergraduate population to know about you and your campaign.
The number one thing I want everyone to know is the idea that education is something instilled into me. I double major in economics and education, but it goes beyond that. My experiences in ASUCR, being in the Office of the President, being a finance fellow, meeting with the deans and the provosts to discuss the campus finances, even to outside and to Riverside County as a whole, my experience in the Riverside County Office of Education. I've worked in education from kindergarten, supporting kindergarten to 12, and here I am supporting on the college level. Education is everything to me. And I have my multilateral experience and my proven ambition to do so. I ask people to judge me based on what I've done and the supporting roles I have displayed in these past few years. I have known the intricacies of education from my research and just from my involvement in just different campus affairs. As a student government leader of a college, you have to understand education, the intricacies and how difficult it is to make sure our quality of education never ever decreases. You need a president who understands that. I do. Therefore, I ask, please vote Adam Ramirez for ASUCR president.
Please use the next minute to conclude what you want the undergraduate population to know about you and your campaign.
I want to start off by saying thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come hear us out and hear what we have to offer. As a closing remark, I want to touch on some of the work that I've currently been doing. I'm an advocate at my core, and I'm here to serve the student body, both on our campus and beyond. I've lobbied for student housing bills at our Capitol, spoken with staff at Title IX to improve their process and make it trauma-informed. I've spoken with Dean Wang to improve the experience of our school of business students, and I've connected with Costa Hall to see how I can help uplift those centers. I've also applied myself as a mentor within this organization and across campus. I'm a leader both here at ASUCR and outside of it. I have a proven track record of successful advocacy and leadership, and with all of that, I am equipped to drive an amazing campaign and time in office as president. For those reasons, vote Tisha Shriram for president because I'm here to get it done. Thank you.
Please use the next minute to conclude what you want the undergraduate population to know about you and your campaign.
Thank you guys all for being here as your voices matter. I'd like to all thank you guys once again for attending this event as I understand that it is late within the day. Just a reminder that we are UCR and everything should be catered towards you and your education. I wanted to stand here and thank you for allowing me to serve you for the last 3 years and entrusting me with your student fees to ensure that all of them come back to you. Once again, my name is Brandon Huang and thank you for listening to my speech as well as attending this event.
I'd like to thank everyone for attending so far. A few reminders that I would like to give out. We have another debate next Tuesday for the other positions that have not gone today. It'd be Executive Vice President of Internal Affairs and Sustainability, and Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. So if you guys could, please attend out. Same time, same room. Please be there. Thank all the candidates for being here too. This is professional.
And as we're closing up, I would like to remind everybody about the importance of voting in elections. As a lot of you may know, last year we only had a 9% voter turnout. That was about 2,000 students in a school that has 22,000 undergraduate students. Please make sure that you are vocalizing your opinions, your thoughts by going out to vote. We have a lot of amazing incentives and you'll be able to see all of those on our Instagram. But more importantly than the free stuff, all the incentives, the food, all the great things that the committee has been cooking up, these are the people who are going to directly represent you. You come to this school and you pay a lot of money, whether you are on Pell Grant, the scholarships that UCR gives us, but at the end of the day, all of that money is going directly to ASUCR and other things that will affect you. These are the people that are going to make sure that that money is put to good use. So make sure that you are doing your research on who you're going to vote. Make sure that you are looking into what policies are coming up, what their roles entail, and what they want to do and what they have planned for you. Candidates convention has already passed, but I'm sure that all of these candidates would be more than happy to be contacted by you so that you guys can discuss their platform and all of their goals. But please, just make sure that you are telling your friends to vote, that you yourself are voting. There are a lot of different ways to vote, so we will put out an entire video on how to vote. If you have any concerns, accessibility issues, we will address all of that on our Instagram, so make sure that you are following our Instagram. But above all, we really hope we are aiming for 25% voter turnout, which again is still not a lot because we're at a school with 22,000 undergraduates. So please make sure that you're letting everybody know the importance of voting, and just know your student fees are going to these candidates. So let your voice talk. But again, thank you so much for coming and attending this event, and we hope to see you next week.